Hello and welcome to another episode of Jazzology presented by Savage Content. I'm your host, Willard Jenkins. We're here alternating Fridays, giving two jazz fans the opportunity to compete against each other for a chance to win $100. Each contestant will be asked a question worth 2 points. If they are unable to answer correctly, their opponent will have the chance to steal the question for 1 point. We'll ask 10 questions. And at the end of the 10 questions, the person with the lowest score will get a bonus question for the opportunity to tie the score. If they are successful and the game is tied, the game will go to sudden death. Each contestant will take turns trying to answer the sudden death multiple choice question until we have a winner. The person in the lead at the end of regulation will go first. The contestants will alternate chances to answer the sudden death question until one gets it correct. And now let's meet this week's contestants. Our reigning Jazzology champion is Greg Bryant, who is a musician, writer, broadcaster, and host at Sirius XM Real Jazz, where he is known as the Watchman. Greg is also a podcast host. Greg, tell us about your podcast.
Well, it's in transition now, but it was with Nate Chinen. It was called Jazz United, and it was a time to kind of chop it up with a fellow enthusiast who's also one of the top writers here in our music about the state of things, classic, current, in the middle. It was two friends rallying around the music. That was the vibe, and we're looking and hoping to bring that back in another capacity.
All right. Thank you, Greg. Well, today's Jazzology challenger is Bruce Greeley. Bruce is a former librarian based in the Seattle area, and Bruce has been a contributor to Seattle's monthly Earshot Jazz magazine. He's also a bass clarinetist and a radio programmer at KBFG-FM, who has also hosted his own jazz trivia contests. Bruce, what keeps you excited about jazz?
Oh man, I just the music is so special. I mean, I find it the most challenging and yet energetic. And I mean, all forms of jazz are like wonderful. And it's a sound of surprise, as Whitney Bailey had said, I think.
Yes, indeed, the sound of surprise. All right, now let's get to today's Jazzology questions. And as our reigning champion, Greg Bryant will go first. Greg, the saxophonists Buddy Collette, Harold Land, Teddy Edwards, Joe Maini, Bud Shank, Curtis Amy, and Ernie Watts all performed with which big band leader composer? Would that have been A, Gerald Wilson, B, Count Basie, C, Mary Lou Williams, D, Woody Herman, or E, Buddy Rich?
Well, you said Harold Land and Curtis Amy. It's got me thinking about the West Coast and those fiery West Coast guys. I'm actually going to go with A, Gerald Wilson.
Gerald Wilson is indeed correct. That is correct, Greg. It is indeed Gerald Wilson is who had the big band that included all of those great saxophone players. Bruce, your turn.
All right.
Bruce, which of the following artists worked as producer, composer, and arranger for the 2015 film Miles Ahead, a somewhat fictional depiction of Miles Davis? Would that have been A, Herbie Hancock, B, Robert Glasper, C, Robert Irving III, D, John Beasley, or E, Adam Holtzman?
Wow, that was indeed a scandalous movie. I was like, and I was thinking of another artist that you didn't list there, but I have a feeling just because it was so new, and I know that Robert Glasper is big on that scene. I'm going to say B, Robert Glasper.
B, Robert Glasper. That is indeed correct, Bruce. It was Robert Glasper who worked as a producer, composer, and arranger for the 2015 film Miles Ahead. Greg, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Greg, which of the following songwriters were not, I emphasize, were not covered by Ella Fitzgerald for a full album title in her classic series of songbook albums? Would that have been A, Irving Berlin, B, Duke Ellington, C, Oscar Hammerstein, D, Cole Porter, or E, Harold Arlen?
Ooh. Mr. Jenkins is coming with the tricky questions out of the gate. Which of the following composers did she not do a full songbook album on, was the question. Right. Okay. Man. I know of her association with Cole Porter for sure. So she did do Cole Porter. And she definitely did several Ellington classics. I'm gonna have to guess on this one. C, Oscar Hammerstein.
You guys are killing it today. Oscar Hammerstein, she did not do a full album of his songs.
Okay.
His songs were included as co-songwriter, but not a full album with Oscar Hammerstein. So you are correct. Wow. Bruce, you ready?
I hope so.
All right. Bruce, which of the following Jazz at Lincoln Center venues has a panoramic window view overlooking Columbus Circle and Central Park? I'll repeat that. Which of the following Jazz at Lincoln Center venues has a panoramic window view that overlooks Columbus Circle and Central Park? Would that be A, Rose Theater, B, the Allen Room, C, Dizzy's Club, D, the Erdogan Hall of Fame, or E, none of the above?
Well, that's Wynton Marsalis's big venture out there. I never made it to that place yet, or so gonna have to guess, but I'm just some reason I'm thinking C, Dizzy's Club.
That's correct. And actually, Bruce, there are two correct answers there because the Allen Room also has that panoramic view as well. So there are two venues at Jazz at Lincoln Center that have a wonderful view of Columbus Circle and Central Park. And with Greg working at XM, I certainly want to, Sirius XM, I certainly want to ask him that question because he already knew.
Oh, man.
So, Greg, your turn next.
Yes, sir.
Greg, the late National Endowment for the Arts jazz master, bassist, band leader, Charlie Hayden, had a successful band called Quartet West. That band originally included Ernie Watts on tenor sax, Alan Broadbent on piano, and Who on drums. Would that have been A, Jeff Hamilton, B, Billy Higgins, C, Lawrence Marable, D, Ed Blackwell, or E, none of the above?
Oh, wow. Okay. Charlie Hayden, Quartet West, original drummer. And I have a few of those albums, but I kind of joined them in the middle of their tenure toward the end. I'm going to say C, Lawrence Marable.
Nah, I'm sorry, Greg.
Okay.
The original drummer in Charlie Hayden's Quartet West was his bandmate with Ornette Coleman, and that would be Billy Higgins.
Gotcha.
Lawrence Marable was the longest tenured drummer.
Okay.
And Lawrence Marable was indeed the drummer at the point at which Charlie passed on to ancestry. He was the drummer in the band, but Billy Higgins was the original drummer in Charlie Hayden's Quartet West.
Got it.
Jazzology is brought to you by Savage Content. Follow youtube.com/@SavageContent for more Jazzology episodes, plus live music, performance, and interviews with new, rising, and well-established superstars in jazz and adult contemporary music. This week, Savage Content would like to again spotlight Ain't But a Few of Us, the latest book from yours truly, Willard Jenkins. Despite the fact that most of jazz major innovators and performers have been African-American, the overwhelming majority of jazz journalists, critics, and authors have been and continue to be white men. No major mainstream jazz publication has ever had a black editor or publisher. Ain't But a Few of Us presents over 24 candid dialogues with black jazz critics and journalists ranging from Greg Tate, Farrah Jasmine Griffin, and Robin D.G. Kelly, to Tammy Kernodle, Ron Welburn, and John Murph. And in honor of the 1-year anniversary of Jazzology, which was our last episode, in honor of the 1-year anniversary of Jazzology, Savage Content is offering you a chance to win a copy of Ain't But a Few of Us, signed by me. Simply follow the show on social media @Jazzology Trivia Show and answer the trivia question in the post after the show. And Ain't But a Few of Us is available now at Amazon.com and at Duke University Press. Now it's time to ask our contestants our favorite question. Bruce, how did you fall in love with jazz?
Yeah, I was kind of prepared for this, but I got a corny answer. I mean, I remember my dad dancing around to Errol Garner, in the living room, and he loved Benny Goodman's Sing Sing Sing, and Carnegie Hall. But it was like in high school, I discovered a teacher's record collection, and I came across a Dave Brubeck album, and there's something about that just I loved it, and I quickly moved on. I got one of my earliest albums was Monk Train, and that was it, man. I was like, I'm my favorite stuff.
It's so often that those of us who become immersed in jazz are turned on by somebody's record collection.
Right.
So, Greg, I got to ask you. I've asked you this question before, but let's ask it in another way. What keeps you interested in jazz?
I think the Sankofa principle. It's the ancient melded with the future. AACM, ancient to the future. Yep. Someplace where musical ideas and spiritual ideas and intellectual ideas can live together on a continuum. Nothing is really old if it's done right and with the right vigor and spirit, and it makes me energized. So I stay in love with it.
Well, you touched upon a title that I stole from my radio program, because my radio program is called Ancient Future Radio.
Right
and
on.
Yes, I stole that straight from the Art Ensemble of Chicago.
All
right. Let's get back to the questions. And Bruce, you're up next. Bruce, who was the saxophonist in the Miles Davis Quintet who was succeeded in that chair by Wayne Shorter? Was it A, Sam Rivers, B, Sonny Stitt, C, Sonny Rollins, D, George Coleman, or E, Jimmy Heath? Which of those saxophonists did Wayne Shorter succeed in the Miles Davis Quintet?
I thought one of the choices was going to be John Coltrane, actually, but I guess he was a few before. And I know one of these guys was with Miles briefly, and I can't recall. I'm going to go with George Coleman, D, because I know that he had a good stint with them, and I don't know if it was right before Wayne came on, but it was right there in that mix. So
that is correct, Bruce. Wayne Shorter succeeded George Coleman in the saxophone chair of the Miles Davis Quintet. So, Greg, you're up next.
All right.
Greg, the 17th annual Thelonious Monk Competition in 2004 was won by which of the following vocalists? Would that have been A, Tierney Sutton, B, Jane Monheit, C, Roberta Gambarini, D, Gretchen Parlato, or E, Terry Thornton?
Okay. 2004, right? I just want to make sure I had the year right. I know Terry Thornton and Jane Monheit were in the previous competition in the late 90s, so neither of them. And I know both Wayne and Herbie, the panelists, had really good things to say about Gretchen Parlato. I'm going to say D, Gretchen Parlato.
That's correct. And might I say that was an excellent process of elimination.
I had to, man. You come with the questions today, Brother Willard.
Because you were right about Terry Thornton and Jane Monheit. Bruce, let's stay on the side of jazz vocals. Bruce, which jazz singer recorded a mashup of Ravel's Bolero and Leonard Cohen's song Suzanne? Would that have been A, Diane Reeves, B, Diana Krall, C, Melody Gardot, D, Renee Marie, or E, Kurt Elling?
I haven't heard that, but I'm going to go out and get it right now. Right after this, man. That sounds like a cool mashup there. That's for sure. And I love that idea. I feel like that sounds fairly experimental, and the one that I'm going out on a limb here, maybe, but I know Kurt Elling's the most experimental of those guys. I think I would say E, Kurt Elling.
All right. And now Greg will get a chance to steal this question. Greg, which jazz singer recorded a mashup of Ravel's Bolero and Leonard Cohen's song Suzanne? Would that have been A, Diane Reeves, B, Diana Krall, C, Melody Gardot, D, Renee Marie, and E, Kurt Elling has been eliminated.
Wow. Yeah, this one actually escaped my radar as well, unfortunately. Based on the type of material, wow. Bolero and Bernstein's Suzanne.
Yep.
Matched up. Wow. Okay.
Bolero and Leonard Cohen's Suzanne.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Leonard Cohen and the music of. Would it be C, Melody Gardot?
Nope. The correct answer to that, and it has been recorded, is D, Renee Marie.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about Renee Marie, she has done a few mashups.
True.
He did an interesting mashup with Dixie, if you'll recall.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Absolutely. So, Greg, you're up next.
Okay.
The band known as Saxophone Summit included Joe Lovano, Michael Brecker, And who was the third saxophonist?
Mm-hmm.
Would that have been A, Dave Liebman, B, Bob Mincer, C, Chris Potter, D, Ernie Watts, or E, Tim Rees?
Mm-hmm. He's an NEA jazz master, and I believe that summit was his idea at first to help investigate some of the later works of John Coltrane and their original compositions. I'm going with A, Dave Liebman.
That is correct. Dave Liebman was indeed the third member of the Saxophone Summit, along with Michael Brecker and Joe Lovano. Bruce, the Jazz Composers Orchestra was co-led by Michael Mantler and which of the following composers? Would that have been A, Don Cherry, B, Carla Bley, C, Charlie Hayden, D, Cecil Taylor, or E, George Russell?
You know, that orchestra, that I've got the album Escalator Over the Hill. It's one of my most prized possessions, a big box set. And I think Charlie Hayden was in the group, but I believe it was Carla Bley, B, who was the co-leader.
That is correct. And our score, let's see our score. We are tied at 8-8. So that means that we go to our bonus round. And since Bruce went last, Greg will go first in the bonus round. Greg, the wonderful Brazilian singer Rosa Passos made a beautiful recording with which of the following jazz bass masters? A, Christian McBride, B, Ron Carter, C, Buster Williams, or D, Jaco Pastorius, or E, Charlie Hayden?
Well, any of those guys would have sounded fantastic with Rosa, who is equally fantastic.
Absolutely.
My goodness. But I think I'm going to zero in on Mr. Bowtie and say B, Sir Ron Carter.
That is correct. That is correct. And Greg Bryant is our returning and continuing champion. Congratulations to Greg Bryant on your win.
Thank you.
We encourage each and every one of you to try your hand and play Jazzology. We're particularly encouraging more women to compete on Jazzology. And if anyone watching would like to become a contestant on Jazzology, click the link below and simply fill out the form. You must be 18 years old or older, and be sure to follow us on Instagram at Jazzology Trivia Show to get all the latest news and updates. Thanks so much to our returning and continuing champion, Greg Bryant, and thanks to Bruce Greeley, who put up quite a struggle there, Greg.
Yeah, he did. Bruce knows his
stuff.
I
can't think of the last time we were tied at the end of regulation, but thank you, Bruce. And Bruce, we'll definitely have you back on. And
Cool.
Thanks to everyone who joined us for our 28th episode of Jazzology today. Remember, you can check out Jazzology every other Friday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you missed the show live, you can find the archive on the Savage Content YouTube channel. Take care. Peace and blessings.
Thank you.